Today I'm interviewing internet marketing expert Paul King on the topic of his latest book, which is entitled The Online Marketing Blueprint for Accountants. Now Paul, as an internet marketing expert, I understand why you've written a book on online marketing, but what made you choose accountants as the subject?
Well, accountants, it's a great business model anyway. There's reoccurring revenues in there. Everyone needs an accountant. So all businesses are going to need an accountant, no matter how small, how large they are. So I mean that's a dream for me. There's a lot of people searching for accountants. Again, that's something we look for in the internet marketing game. So when I put it to work with one of the practitioners in the region, we got fantastic results and took them sort of from a sole trader, if you like, up to a 4-person business within sort of 6 months.
Okay, good. So we'll start at the top, and I'm not a marketing expert, so we'll look at for me the first chapter of my book around websites.
Yeah.
So what sort of website should an accountant be looking for?
Well, there's two types of websites really. I mean, a lot of accountants currently have what we would call a brochure website. And it's just all information, and it just tells people about the business and about the partners, if you like. And they are fine, but they don't tend to bring any business in. Okay, they look nice, they're very corporate, if you like, but they don't bring any business in. And then there's a lead generation website, and this is where most accountancy practices fail. And it actually captures the data. It gets people to sign up to the list, to be marketed to be given information. And that is where we really need to focus on as a business and accountancy practice to grow your customer base.
Okay, so I hear what you're saying. An accountant definitely needs a website in today's age, and we need it to be more lead generating. But a lot of accountants have already got a website. Often they've spent a lot of money on their website, but precious few of them that I know get any results from their website. So how do you reconcile that?
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to the brochure site and the lead generation site. They tend not to have any lead generation on there. It tends to be all the corporate information, what services they offer, and then it's sort of bullet pointed list of the different services. And everyone knows the sort of services an accountant do. Obviously, some of them specialise a little bit, but most of them, do the same sort of things: the tax returns and payroll, etc. And really, people already know that information. So what they really need to do is stand out, be a little bit different. A lot of accountants that we come across have a very templated website. It looks the same as the other accountant down the road.
Yes.
They're all very, very the same. The design really needs to be unique. It needs to tell the visitors to the website why they should choose that particular accountant over another one. And then, of course, it goes back to the data capture I was saying with the lead generation website. Often there's no reason to contact. There's a contact form on a brochure website, but there's no sort of call to action, no reason for them to actually make that call and choose that accountant over the next one. So in general, the websites the accountants have just don't work, and accountants have to pick up their business sort of by physically meeting people, networking, if you like, face to face, rather than the website where they could have a sort of website that generates leads for them on a daily basis. Brings inquiries into the practice on a daily basis and grows the client list every day.
So what we're really saying is that, if I get this correct, that you need a website.
Yes.
And accountants have got a website, but they're not really doing it right. And you touched on something there, which I know from my experience of the industry is definitely true. For a lot of people have got templated websites.
Yes.
And it's very tempting because they're cost effective and everybody, writes all the content for you, and it seems quite an attractive model. So, but you mentioned that wasn't a good idea. What would the alternative be?
Yeah, I mean, it isn't a good idea because, like you say, the templated websites, they look the same. The content on them is the same, almost, just slightly tweaked to change the partners' names and whatnot. So what you really need is a unique website. You need your website to be completely unique in terms of design and also in terms of content. And you need the content to tell people why they should choose your practice over somebody else's, not necessarily what you're going to do, and we can deal with your payroll, etc. You need to give them a reason to choose your business over another one.
So really what you're saying is all accountants do a lot of a similar job, if you will, in terms of payroll and year ends and tax planning, but it's what's making people different. Which
That's
I
right.
know, from my experience of the industry, that's been a theme for many years,
Yeah.
that we need to become more proactive and we need to start helping clients a lot more.
Yes.
But getting that across on a website is difficult, isn't it?
That's right. Yeah.
So how would you get that across on a website? How would you say there's 5 accountants, in this particular small area of town, but we're better than the other people, or we're different to the other people? How would you say that on a website?
Well, I mean, my first thing would be to put a video on there.
Mm-hmm.
Accountants pick up a lot of their business right now by going out and meeting people face to face. People need to trust their accountant, and they tend to want to know their accountant personally. And by doing that, putting a video on there just gives them that instant trust. Okay, they may still want to go and meet the accountant, but they're instantly getting to know that person, seeing their personality a little bit in a video, and it's just building trust. And again, the content on the website, if it's not templated, here's what we do, this, that and the other. We've got a lot of sort of people who use content and talk about the benefits of using their practice, the different services that they offer. That's fine, but listing them as bullet points is not ideal. It's why their services are slightly different to others, and that's what you really need to see.
Yeah. So getting across the message that we're accountants, but we're different, and getting to meet the people.
Yeah.
I think it's something you said there, which I know is very true, that people buy the person, the individual as an accountant. Because most small practices, one of their biggest selling points is that you work with an individual,
That's right.
and it's kind of partner-led.
Yeah.
So it's putting their partner. You mentioned a video there. Now, I know a lot of accountants will be a bit fearful when you talk about videos and speaking in front of a camera. What would be in that video, and what would they say? And because it seems a bit daunting, I know, for a lot of people in the profession.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much what they would say when they meet people face to face. I mean, it doesn't have to be too different from that. It just has to sort of introduce them as a practice, as a partner, if you like, exactly like they would meet someone at a networking event or something like that, where they traditionally pick up business, and just getting across, the whole ethos of the accountancy practice, the business, and again, that's sort of separating themselves apart from just a website of an accountancy business that you don't know anyone from. Well, you've got a video on there. You've now kind of met this person. You can see they're not giving the hard sell, if you like. You can make an instant decision on whether it's someone you'd like to work with, and that just gives people the confidence to go on and actually make the contact, which is where all the other websites fail, because it's just written content and there's no reason for them to sort of go on and fill out that contact form, pick up the phone, whatever it needs to be.
So really, is that the objective of an accountant's website? Because I know I'm often confused by this. Is the purpose to almost sell online, if you will, or is the purpose a bit what you were saying there, to get people just interested in the practice? Where do you draw the line between selling online and just representing what you do?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose you do need to sell online. Of course, that's what we want. The accountancy practice they spend a lot of money, like you said before, sometimes on a website. They spent, that £2,000 or something like that, and it brings them nothing. You need to get a return on that. And really, your website should be your most powerful salesperson. It should be bringing in new leads every day, and it should be converting customers on a daily basis, and it should be retaining your customers as well. So I know a lot of accountancy practices traditionally might have kept customers, and they may be able to sort of say we keep customers for an average of 5 years. But by giving your customers information, keeping them up to date all the time, and sort of feeding them information on the website, you're going to keep them happy, and you're going to keep them for longer.
That's an interesting point there about keeping clients happy, because as you say, most accountants keep their clients for a long time.
Yeah.
It's a trusted relationship. What else could you do with the website? I've heard different people doing different things in the industry. So what else could you do with your website for your customers? So once we've got people on board and we've got a set of clients, what could we do with the clients? I've heard of client zones and other...
Yeah.
Is this possible now, or is this just a bit like the paperless office, just something we talk about but we never get around to doing?
No, I mean, it's more than possible. It's very, very easy, in fact, now to implement a back office system, if you like, which only your clients can have access to. And they can drop on reports on there. They can drop on the figures and things like that. So the account practice can pick it up. The office can pick it up and give the. I wouldn't probably recommend having a Dropbox, if you like, where they put on their accounts and and you just drop it back, and you never have any contact with them. I think that personal contact's important. But you know, you can sort of make things easier, sharing files and things like that, much easier. And the other thing on the website is just keeping people informed of the changes. There's so often that we hear people who have accountants and they never speak to them for a year, and they sort of dump all the stuff and speak to them again when they get their report back, if you like, and their accounts signed off, and then never see them again for another year. And I mean, that's where people can obviously drop off the client list, if you like, because there's not that much contact. But if you can keep in contact with them every month, providing them sort of news, information, updates on law changes or you know, minimum wage and things like that, if they can hear that from you first, then you know they're gonna keep in touch.
Definitely. Something I read in the book around there, the minimum wage sort of struck a chord because it said that you could send them a newsletter each month.
Yep.
But I presume that's an electronic newsletter through the website. So how does that work, and what would you do with that? How would an account, because from my perspective, without any technical knowledge, sending a newsletter email to people sounds too much. How do you go about doing that?
Yeah, I mean it's not too difficult. I'm sure that people are still sort of sending out mailed newsletters now, but the email newsletter is a very, very simple system, and you can just sort of, if you put in the different stories you've got, I would always recommend putting the stories on the website and then linking from the newsletter to them so they can see the full story, giving them a snippet on the newsletter of various different stories and industry news. But just there are systems out there that we can use. You can have them in the back end of the website if that's what you so choose, whereby you've got a mailing list of all your current clients, and you can separate that from your prospects, if you like, so they can each have a different mailing list, email that goes out to them, just keeping them informed.
Definitely. Brilliant, Paul. Okay, so in summary what we're saying is we need a website to attract more customers, but also to keep our existing customers happy. Yes. And most accountants are doing it wrong at the minute and need to take up some of the advice you give them there. Brilliant.
Definitely.
Okay.
Excellent.